Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael Lee Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Sesame, Cruz, and Carta.
Cruz. So are you like Ted Cruz or Tom Cruise or Penelope Cruz or Terry Crews?
That's a good one. I don't know. I'm cruising on a cruise.
Oh, okay.
Like Ted Cruz.
Like Speed 2 Cruise Control?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
Well, I mean, not really, but it was good. And it was all right.
Yes. So, today on the show, wondering why we're talking about cruises. You know, I got confused at first and I watched Tiger King thinking we were watching that. And I was like, what's this got to do with the Disney Channel? And then, oh, wait, Tiger Cruise, not Tiger King.
Pretty mature for a Disney Channel. Like, what the hell?
It's basically the same plot, right?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. The hours of a documentary I watched instead of an hour and a half movie.
Yes, exactly.
No, really, I did watch this. The movie, otherwise you were going to have to cover everything.
Exactly. Just me talking about it to you.
We should do that sometime.
Yeah, that would be fun, actually. That would be, yeah. And just like try to figure out the plot of the movie just through someone else talking about it, but not showing like clips, like a YouTube video about it, just hearing someone talk about it. Like,
yeah, I could give you quizzes, like, what do you think happens? Or vice versa.
Yeah, that would be really cool. And like don't give, that's the other thing too. Like, don't give away too much of the plot.
Yeah.
About like, just give us enough to then try to explain what the movie might be about. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Okay, if you think that's a good idea, you can message me at mike@cullenpark.com. That's Mike, Mike, the little @ symbol, CULLENPARK.com. Anyways, also another thing, while I got your attention, folks, do us a favor and go to Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you can and give us a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate that. Also, subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. Check out our TeePublic and check out our Patreon. I figured I'd get that out of the way at the beginning. Now that I got you back here, folks, today we are covering the 2004 made-for-Disney Channel movie, which they'll call a DCOM, a Disney Channel original movie, Tiger Cruise. It premiered August 6th, 2004, and it stars Hayden Panettiere, how do you say her name? Hayden?
I don't know.
Hayden Panettiere. I'll just say that.
Good.
Hayden Panettiere. I never know how to pronounce her name because I don't think I've ever heard it said out loud. Maybe I have, but I don't know. Bill Pullman, Bianca Collins, Nathaniel Lee Jr., Mercedes Cullen, Mehcad Brooks.
Like your name, Cullen.
No, it's Colon, Colon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mehcad Brooks from Supergirl and other things. Jansen Panettiere, the little brother of Hayden. Lisa Dean Ryan, former guest of the show Troy Evans, Ty O'Neill, Chris Ellis, Gary Weeks, Barbara Niven, a young Jeanette McCurdy. Be sure to check out her book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. It's a great book. Anyways.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's an amazing book. Yeah.
I never heard. Oh, I've heard of the book. I didn't.
Yeah, Jeanette McCurdy. She used to be on iCarly and Sam and Cat and other things too.
Okay.
After this is when she was really young. Yeah, but
right.
But her book is one of the best books I've ever read.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she was like one of those child stars that pretty much made money for her parents, kind of thing, or something, or.
Yeah, well, her mom kind of forced her into the business.
I see.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad story, but a redemptive story and stuff like that. She's doing a lot of good with her life now, but her mom kind of messed her up. So when her mom died of cancer, she was kind of happy. So
wow.
Yeah. We also have Matthew Buckley, and then another former guest of our show, Mark Christopher Lawrence as Pop. Anyways, so in a small scene towards the beginning of the movie. So, all right, initial reaction to this show here, Sesame. To this, I mean, movie. Yeah.
It was okay. I thought it was all right. It wasn't, wasn't what I expected it to be like a really dumb movie. It was, for Disney Channel, with the budgets that those movies usually got, because this is not like even a straight to home video Disney. It's just for the channel itself, so the budgets for those things are probably a lot less than the movies that came out on DVD and whatnot. But yeah, I thought it was okay. It was, I mean, obviously, it's like, quote, meant for kids or families. So, with such a serious topic as 9/11, you can't really get too crazy needs, but I thought it did a decent job.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent movie. Also, I wanted to mention it was directed by Dwayne Robert Dunham. He also directed, he was an assistant director on the original Star Wars. An assistant director on a bunch of things, like on also Empire Strikes Back and Raiders of the Lost Ark. He also directed the movie Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. Little Giants. He directed many episodes of Twin Peaks, Jag, Seventh Heaven. He directed the Disney Channel movie Halloween Town. He directed the Disney Channel movie The 13th Year, the movie Santa and Pete, the Disney Channel movie Ready to Run, the Disney Channel movie Double Teamed, featuring some about basketball, Double Teamed, just letting you know that. And then the racing movie Right on Track, which is a Disney Channel movie as well, featuring Beverly Mitchell and Brie Larson. And then Tiger Cruise here, and then, he's directed he directed Star Wars Clone Wars episodes and Twin Peaks The Return episodes. So yeah, he's got a pretty good career. So yeah, he did a decent job on this movie too, I think. So, and the film was written by Anna Sandor and Bruce Graham. So yeah, I liked this movie better than I thought I would. Like you said, when I heard the concept and I knew it was a Disney Channel movie, I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of cheesy or something, but it wasn't as cheesy as I thought it would be. It was to a point, but any family movie is going to be, so yeah. So what happens in this?
Well, it's often called Disney Channel's 9/11 movie, so obviously we know somewhat of what the movie, but actually, surprisingly, most of the movie's not even about 9/11, but that 9/11 doesn't even come in until about over halfway through the movie, actually. Yeah. So, there's a lot of build up before that. Yeah.
This is based on it's a fictionalized story based on true events too, though, because like there was a Tiger Cruise going on on the U.S. Constellation at the time of the September 11th attacks, and they had to lock things down and stuff like this.
Yeah, pretty much. So basically, we have our four main protagonists, the kids. I mean, there's some adults in the movie, but it focuses mainly around Maddie, Tina, Anthony, and Joey. So Maddie, and it does like an introduction to each character beat by beat. We start with Maddie. She's, I don't know, 12 or 13, and she's like a brooding adolescent, basically, because she doesn't really want to go on this cruise, even though she said she wanted to go. So her mom does not know how to figure out what's going on with her, because she's been asked to go on this cruise for years. Yeah. She's always said no. And now she finally said yes, and she won't let her little sister go in lieu of her. But yet at the same time, she's acting like she doesn't want to go. So it's like, okay. Yeah. And then so we get this. Oh, go ahead, Zach.
I was going to say, yeah, her little sister is the one played by Jeanette McCurdy. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha. So she's the one that really wants to go, but she can't, because you could only bring one family member on board the ship. And it doesn't have to be kids, because there's some adults in this, well. And so she's like, the first one, and I forgot what I was going to say, but basically, her younger sister, she makes the very first reference to what they call the dog machine, and I'll tell you later what that means. And then so Maddie's like, "What the fuck is a dog machine?" And she didn't say "fuck," obviously. Like,
No, this was a weird Disney movie where they just cursed up a storm.
Dog machines? Is it like create dogs or wash dogs, or are dogs even allowed on the ship? I mean, I imagine maybe.
And then she slapped her little sister, and it got all violent. And then she pulled out a gun and shot her mom. It was weird. No, joking.
Yeah, yeah. And so then we get to Anthony. Anthony is being taken to the airport, I think, by his dad or his grandfather. I don't really remember what
he's Mark Christopher Lawrence's character. So yeah.
Okay. And so like Bridge, Anthony is like I took some notes here, and I'm not doing it I'm doing it just to do my weird commentary I do on things where I take it way too seriously than what it really is, kind of thing. And so I wrote, Anthony likely has undiagnosed / untreated ADHD, and his brother thinks him going on this cruise will help shape him up, so it's just like, okay, so instead of, helping, the person with, possibly, something going on, let's just, decide to make him go on a Navy cruise ship and, live like the sailors do, because, why not, and
that's how they dealt with my ADHD when I was a kid. Yeah.
They're like, hey, you're staying on this boat for like 3 days. Get used to it,
They might as well have, because the Ritalin they gave me didn't do shit except for turn me into a zombie. But that's another story. But
Ritalin is, especially back then, it's I mean, the medication nowadays, I'm sure, is a lot better than it was back then. Because I was on it for about 2 weeks when I was like 7, and it didn't do shit for me except for give me extreme insomnia, apparently, according to my mom. And which I already had to begin with. I just like staying up late.
My parents got worried about me because I literally turned into a zombie. Like, I would just sit there and not have any emotion whatsoever.
Right.
So yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe this was better to have him stay on it anyway. So the reason why I said that is because Anthony's like always like drumming all the time and like always himself busy, which kind of is sort of sometimes, a symptom of that. And we get the whole generational divide between what kind of music is good or whatever, because he turns on some really, really, really cheesy rap song on the radio, and his dad's like, don't do that or whatever, or something like that. And then Anthony's like, well, come on, that's whack. You get it? Whack, because that's what the kids say in 2004. Even by 2004 standard.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think people were saying whack. I think that had gone by 6 years before.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So even by that standard, they were way off.
Yeah.
And
it's funny to see Mark Christopher Lawrence, downplaying rap when he was in the movie Fear of a Black Hat, which was his first big movie where it was about rap. So yeah, it's a mockumentary. Awesome. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they do that in movies, like that movie, what was it called? Not Chase. What was it? Was it Chase? It was about racism and stuff like that. Sandra Bullock was in. What was it called?
Chase.
Oh, what's called Chase? Okay.
No, I don't know what you were talking about.
The movie that had it was basically about racism and prejudice. Like Sandra Bullock was in it. She played like this really rich woman who's got mugged, so she had her husband have the locks changed at the house, and then she didn't like it because the guy was Hispanic, so she thought he was just gonna take the locks and.
Yeah, I've never heard of this movie or seen it.
It's called. What's that?
I've never heard of the movie or seen it.
No, you've seen it a million times when it came out. Remember there was a guy who was Iranian, and then he wanted to buy a gun because he was worried about his store or whatever getting robbed.
Oh, so Crash.
Crash, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so there's one of the actors in that movie is Ludacris, the rapper.
Yeah.
And in that movie, he's totally against rap music. Thinks it's a government conspiracy, to hold the black out. So it's just kind of funny that he plays a character that's against rap music when he himself, it's kind of interesting.
The reason I wasn't thinking that was a Sandra Bullock movie is because it's got such a huge cast that I never really think of it as one person. You know what I mean?
Well, I know exactly. Yeah. She's the only one I could think of at the time. I know her husband was played by Brendan Fraser. He wasn't in it that much, but because Don Cheadle was in it, so many other great actors. Anyway, so so he turned on the jazz station instead. So it's like, ooh, this is real music, jazz versus rap. That was that whole scene was about, which is stupid, whatever. And then so he goes to the airport, and then we get to Tina, and Tina is like the opposite of Maddie, where she's super obsessed with the Navy. She has all these different things memorized about it, like the different types of air jets and planes and things like that. And she's really looks up to her older sister Grace, that's who she's there to visit. And she's doing this weird thing where she's practicing saluting in front of the mirror for I don't know how many minutes before the camera was rolling on her. But and like just making sure
she's
got the exact,
she's got some neurodivergent issues too, I think.
I even wrote that too. I even said possibly on the spectrum. I'm not even saying that's a joke. I'm
not either. I was just saying there's something going on there. Yeah.
Like it's that very focused, very like this is my mission, type of thing, which, for want of a better word, I guess it is a mission because they are going on the ship. But like, and so they do her thing, her bits, it's supposed to be like kind of like quirky, funny girl, whatever. And then we got Joey. So Joey's the youngest of all of them. I don't think they really had much of an intro to him other than just his dad dropping him off. That's the other thing too. Just dropping him off by himself, going up the escalator. It's like, you're not going to join him? Like, you're just letting him go? Like what? He's like, bye-bye. I'll see you in a few days. Okay. I mean, I guess 2001 was a simpler time. So,
well, it was before 9/11. So,
well, yeah, exactly. It wasn't before 9/11. And then they all on the plane together. Anthony is irritating the hell out of Maddie by drumming on like his pants or some notepad or whatever he's got. She's trying to draw because she's an artist, and so apparently back then you could just like change seats if you wanted to, like randomly. I guess that was a thing. I don't remember.
Well, I think if there's if there's a seat open, sometimes nobody notices or cares.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she goes to join Tina, and Tina at this time is currently regaling this woman who's clearly not interested in what she's. That's why I'm thinking of the neurodivergent thing too. Is like, because I've been like that so many times in my life where I'm just talking someone's ear off about something I'm interested in, just like, oh, cool, I want to get out of the situation somehow, like, like, and so, and then that's when Maddie shows up, sits next in between them, and the old lady's like, oh, thank God, but then she just starts then telling Maddie all the same shit that she had just told this old lady on the plane, like, okay, we get it, you like the Navy, awesome. And then, so that's our intro, right? That's the thing. That's the glue that puts everything else together. But we have a lot of cool shit that goes on after this. You want to start talking about that? Or you want me to keep going? Because I wrote some notes, but you can do what you want.
I can go. So basically what we have is, they get on the ship as, and they're called Tigers, which are basically family members who are visiting for this event that they have, where basically they go on the ship, and this is an actual thing that happens in the military. And they arrive on is it September 9th where they get on there? I think it is. Originally. Yeah. The first day is September 9th. So then basically we meet like more characters. We meet Troy Evans' character of Chuck Horner, whose son is he works in the kitchen on the ship. He's Chuck's a little like, dismissive of that, because he's like he was in a different military branch. What is this one that we're on here?
What's that note?
What military branch are the people on the ship?
Navy. He was a Marine.
Yeah, that's right. I was just trying to remember which was which, because they're the Navy and he was a Marine. That tells you how much I know about the military, sadly.
Oh, I don't know much either, but
yeah,
he thinks that the Marines are superior, and he constantly talks about how the Navy is so good. Like, oh yeah, I'm sure being in any military outfit is easy and fun.
They all act like the people I've encountered sometimes, be like, oh, he's in the Army, he's nothing, or whatever, you just feel like, okay, yeah, you're
like, whatever, yeah,
you're in the Navy, big deal, you're in the Marines, big deal, but not saying that any of it's not a big deal, but I'm just saying that comparing them all is like, I don't know, literally comparing apples to apples, not apples to oranges. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So yeah, he's basically the kind of like, middle-aged guy who's kind of, thinks he's better than everybody because he was in a different branch, and he's, and his son is just, whatever, oh, you're not really helping anything. You're just, making pastries and shit, sort of thing.
Yeah. You're just making it possible for sailors to eat, which is sustenance, which is required of all living creatures, especially in a military capacity where you need optimal energy to do certain tasks, especially when it comes to combat. But that's not good. It doesn't count. Okay. No. Well, apparently, not to be mean, but this guy seemed like he's had quite a few meals. And so, and I'm not saying, I mean, I'm a big guy myself. I'm just saying, like, hey, let's not maybe make fun of, like.
Yeah, and I mean, it gives like a little bit of a conflict between the two. That's why they put it in there. I mean, he does have a character development, which is good. And he's kind of starts out as like the comic relief in this movie too. So yeah,
like Anthony, kind of like a similar.
Yeah, the two of them. He's like the adult comic relief. What else happens here? You got better notes probably than I do. So yeah,
I did write some notes. So you're right. He is like the adult comedic relief, or comic relief, whatever you call it. I didn't write down his son's name, so I'm not really sure what his son's name is. But yeah, he's always talking about too how his brother.
His son's name is Danny.
Okay, yeah, Danny. Danny's uncle, which I presume is Chuck's brother, works at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And he's always saying, hey, I can, just one phone call and, you got a better job. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, so nepotism, that's awesome. So, I even wrote down, he also thinks Danny can, quote, do better than be a chef on the ship, even though his son has told him that he likes his job on multiple occasions. Chuck then dismissively says that he could get a gig, quote, flipping burgers, as though being part of the working class is something to be ashamed of. I detect bourgeoisie scum vibes emanating from this piece of shit. He keeps saying that his brother works at the Pentagon and he can get his son a better job with just one phone call. So let's add nepotism to the list of character flaws this guy has. The character, not the actor.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Troy is one of the nicest people on the face of the planet and the most the most open-minded people ever.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just like,
so that's what I'm emphasizing the kid. I've seen him in a bunch of movies. So
he's in everything. Like, he was on ER. He was guest starred on a bunch of TV shows over the years, and a lot of things. So yeah,
and so it's like Danny clearly likes his job. I mean, he's like taking him around the kitchen. He's explaining, how many pounds of food they make per day. I mean, like 8,000 pounds of bread or whatever. I mean, and the food looks pretty good, to be honest. I mean, does not look like what you would think. Then again, this could be because it's a special occasion. I don't know. But like I got hungry looking at it. It looked pretty good. So now we get, so there's kind of jumping around a bit because I didn't really go chronologically.
Oh, that's fine.
But so at one point we learn what the, quote, dog machine is. What's a dog machine? I never heard of a dog machine before. Is it a machine that creates dogs? Is it a machine that cleans dogs? What does it do? It's a soft serve ice cream machine that produces chocolate ice cream, and it literally looks like dog shit. But correction, it looks like soft dog shit, the worst kind. And why they thought this would be something that would be funny, I don't know.
There's a scene in the movie, I can't remember what it was, where somebody talks about diarrhea and then they cut to the dog machine.
Yeah, that's right. And so I'm like, okay, like for one thing, I don't like toilet humor to begin with. I think it's nasty.
And my whole thing is like, I don't know if it was on purpose though. It was kind of hard to tell.
It could have, it could have just been someone, but yeah, but no, it literally looks like wet dog shit. Ugh, just gross. Whatever. And then, but they do this 3 times. Like Joey's
obsessed with ice cream. Yeah, he's obsessed with ice cream. Yeah, so.
Which I mean, he's 7, so I guess maybe whatever, And so he's the one they kind of all look after because he's the little kid of the four, the 4 horsemen, or the 4 tiger men or whatever. And then oh, that was so clever. No, it wasn't. And then and so I wrote about the side characters. Also, Chuck Horner, in addition to promoting nepotism and dismissing his son's very important job in the Navy, he also is a soft bigot towards Muslims and or Arabs, which we'll see later on in the film. But so overall, it's kind of a piece of shit character. But he does have some character development that kind of puts him in the middle.
The thing is here, they never say Muslims or Arabs in that scene I know you're talking about where he says he knows who did it.
But we know what he meant by saying we know. So it's one of those things where
Possibly, but
however
but
do you mean? I didn't say that the person was black. You just assumed I meant a black person by listing off a million stereotypes about black people. It's one of those things. Like,
but I'm just saying, to be fair, I'm not trying to defend it or anything, but there's also the other adult in the scene says, you don't know who did it, and neither do I, or something like that to him, basically saying, so it's like, he could have meant Russians. Who knows?
Oh, sure. Yeah. In 2001, he meant Russia. We'll make believe he was talking about anarchists or Antifa. That's what he meant.
I mean, it is true, though. I mean, I guess it would be, because I was just trying to think of who all of our enemies were at the time, and it probably was some kind of Arabs because of the fact that we had the first Gulf War before this. So, yeah, I guess.
True.
I was trying to think of what the most recent, war or something we had before.
True.
2011. I mean 2001. I mean, yeah.
Anyway, I'm just joshing with this. I'm taking it too seriously.
Oh,
I know. So part of the plot too is that, and again, this is kind of jumping around a bit, but there's Maddie. The reason why Maddie joined this cruise, from what I gather, I don't think the movie really emphasized it too much. So I'm just inferring from this, because I'm doing deep discourse here on the Tiger Cruise, just like I did with the Barbie movie. I don't know if I sent you all those screenshots I did yesterday of literally commenting, doing Barbie discourse on a YouTube comment section, because the guy was saying a bunch of bullshit, and I was like, I wasn't defending the movie necessarily, but I was just saying you either intentionally are misinterpreting what this movie is about, or you just don't get it. Because they're like, oh well, Barbie, it's about you hate men, right? For men, because they didn't do anything against you. But so why do they want the Kens to talk about the Godfather and stuff like that? And it's because it's the whole thing of what you would call mansplaining or just a more generic term, patronizing, attitude of oh, I gotta explain all these deep parts to you because you wouldn't get it type of thing. And they're like, yeah, but it was their idea to have the Kens to do that. Why would they do that? And I'm like, because the Kens had turned the Barbieville into a patriarchy, and so they're trying to get the Kens to trust them so that they can then take over. What? You don't get this? Okay. Anyway, so just sorry, I got off page here, but so now I'm doing Tiger Cruise discourse.
Yes,
you'll have to bear with me on it. So Maddie keeps trying to make her dad feel guilty for protecting his country, which unfortunately required him to miss a few baseball games here and there, which is more important than the safety of her country to her. So so her manipulations are successful eventually, and she eventually convinces her dad to give up the career he has been building throughout his entire life. But then the terrorist attacks happen, and she sees her dad in action. Now she feels conflicted, as she wants her dad to come back home for good, as he promised. But now she recognizes how important his work is. Ooh, so now we got character development. What's going on? Should he come home? Should he stay? I'm not really sure, type of thing. And then that's compounded by the fact that her dad, which I forgot his name, and he's a really important character in this movie. I don't even know his name. He's Commander.
Bill Pullman's character. It's
Bill Pullman's character.
Commander Gary Dolan.
Yeah, he's second in command on the ship, basically. And so he's a very important role, here. And so now she's doesn't really know, because she wants him to be able to protect his country, and it's not just thinking selfishly like she has for her entire life at this point. No, I'm just kidding. She's 13, and not seeing your dad for 5 months on end, and then you see him for 3 weeks, then he's back, gone again for another 2 or 3 months.
She should be happy when he's there, man. I don't care.
No, I'm just saying, I can understand.
I'm joking.
I know. I can understand her feeling left out and bitter, and because at one point too, he even, and this is jumping around some more, he even says, quit growing so fast. I hardly recognize you. It's yeah, because you're never fucking home, dude. I was waiting for her to say something to that. What? Yeah, that's the whole point, dude.
It's true.
You're gone for half the year and she's 12. What do you think's going to happen? I mean, Jesus, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
She's not going to stay your 8-year-old girl forever, bro. Like, come on.
now kids grow up. I don't know if you've noticed this.
You know,
I
and if you hadn't noticed her sarcasm, very early teenager shit right there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's obvious shit. You know, like I started hearing that crap when Melody turned 13. I was getting like, okay,
yeah.
Sarcasm's gonna let it slide. Like,
yeah, my nieces and nephews
anyway,
my nieces and nephews went through all that, and so
of course,
so do
just
most kids. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way it is. But and so skipping around a little bit again, Tina's sister Grace is she's trying to help Tina understand that, you know, being in the Navy isn't just like fun and games. Like, it's not just like you travel the world and you get to see new sights and do it's like, it's not just like a fun thing, because Tina thinks, which I think the movie kind of bears out a little bit and proves her theory, that she doesn't really quite understand like what being in the military is really like. Like, she sees the glamour, she sees like the uniforms, and, you know, she memorizes all the different airplanes they have and things like that, but she doesn't really quite understand that like this is actually a really dangerous type of gig. And
Yeah.
And it's also takes a lot of your time, energy. You know, you got to wake up really early in the morning, you know, every day. It's not just whenever you feel like it type of thing. There's a very regimented way of life. And it has to be, because you have like 500 people doing shit. So everyone needs to be doing a certain thing at a certain exact time. Otherwise, you're going to be running into each other and nothing's ever going to get done, or it's going to take like 6 hours longer than it needs to. So we got that in the movie where she's kind of like, okay, like, I get it, you're excited, but like, you need to know that like, if you do decide to like join when you're an adult, like it's going to like actually be a big change, you know, in your life type of thing. So we got that going on. Anthony's brother's not so enthused with Anthony being there, because Anthony, again, with my theory that he's got untreated ADHD, and so he's always finding ways to get himself in trouble. He doesn't really like the rules that he thinks are stupid. Like, for example, one time he gets on the runway, a guy specifically tells him no hats on the runway. It's a hard rule. And so he takes off the hat, goes, that's a stupid rule. And then he goes out, hat flies off from all the wind and the jet engines. He's like, oh, my hat. Yeah, exactly. You know, Anthony, okay, sorry, side rant here. You know, sometimes rules exist for a reason in life, okay? It's not always about, ooh, I'm just trying to trick you or make your life not be any fun. No, actually, sometimes there's, you know, real reasons why, you know, there be a rule. And maybe you learn that the hard way, which apparently we all need to do at some point, that, you know, you lost your cool hat now because you decide to put it back on. So good job. I guess you're the type of person that needs to put your hand on the hot stove to realize that it's hot, but you burned your hand in the process. So, I mean, I guess, you know.
And then he almost falls off the carrier or whatever. So yeah, he's just like,
so yeah, he potentially killed himself by falling off this huge ship. It's not a light fall. It's a far fall. So he could have definitely hurt himself.
Oh, he would have died.
You know, yeah, died, or at the very least internal injuries that would then cause his death.
If he wouldn't have been caught by that net that's on the edge of it, he would have fallen right into the water and died. And because it would have been really close to the boat engines and stuff too. On the he probably would have gotten eaten up, and it would have been a completely different movie. And
of course. His brother comes up, he just sees a big pool of blood. He's like, no, it got really dark. And so
then the ship comes to life, like in Christine, like the cars do or something, and then it starts like, you know, killing everybody aboard.
Yeah. It's so he's like acting like it's no big deal. He's like making a joke. I'm like, dude, you almost died here. Like, chill the fuck out, dude. And then so he knows how to get out there now. And so the next day they're like running practice runs or something like that with the planes, and they want to go out and see it for themselves and like take pictures or whatever. And they're like, no, absolutely not. You're not allowed on the runway at all.
Mainly Tina's the one that wants to, right?
Yeah, because she wants to. Yeah, and so Anthony's like, you know, he's trying to like impress them, like prove his words. Like, oh, I know, you know, because like, you know, playing the clown basically. It's like, no one really likes me the way I am, so I have to like convince people that I am a worthwhile person. It's like, you're already a worthwhile person. You don't need to sacrifice or potentially sacrifice your life in order to make people laugh. And so he's like, oh, I can sneak you guys out in the runway because I know how to get there or whatever. So then they sneak out, and then Tina takes some pictures, eventually gets spotted by one of the people at the runway. They chase them, they get caught, and then they get talking to by the first commander about how dangerous it was what they did and how everything they do here is for a reason. And then they're like, okay, I want to talk to your family now. And so they scoot the kids out. And then the guy's like, don't worry, don't be too hard on them. Just, that was enough to make them feel sorry or whatever type of thing. Like, okay, great. So I understand that you want to, like, hey, I get it. Your kids, you want to have fun. Still, I would be a little bit more harsh on them, or at least continue.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
for a little bit.
It's trying to paint the picture of the main commander being like a good guy, so that's why they're doing it. Where he's not like completely like a hard ass or something.
Yeah.
So that's I think the main reason for that scene. So yeah.
Of course. And so they all get killed because of that. No, and they don't. But and we got this really cool. All right, so again, skipping around a little bit. Skippy. The night before, September 9th, they had a sick breakdance and DJ show, bro, on the dance floor, which was so 2001, like so much 2001. It was awesome. It was great. And then everyone got killed from that. No, but they also played air hockey. That was really cool. They had a really cool air hockey table. They had a foosball table, which is pretty cool. Anthony is apparently all by himself, which that's the other thing too. Where's his brother doing this whole time? It was his brother's idea to have him join the cruise, and this isn't even before they got in trouble.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse of like, oh, I'm mad at my little brother for being stupid or whatever. This isn't even the date. So if anything, we could sort of recontextualize that scene right there as Anthony's subconscious attempt to get his brother's attention by doing something dangerous,
And it could also be that, his brother was needed elsewhere. So
no, I don't accept that. No, that's my canon. Is that no? I'm kidding. By the way, his brother is played by this guy I've seen in a show recently, and I don't know what the show is. I think
it's Mehcad Brooks who played James Olsen on Supergirl.
Oh, okay, but I think he's also in a recent show.
He's currently on Law and Order.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, all right, good. Because I this whole time I'm watching it, and I'm just like an itch, like I can't scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know this guy.
Yeah.
From something, and so he didn't. Unfortunately, he didn't have Supergirl to like pick Anthony up if he didn't. There wasn't that guardrail that saved him from his fall. So he couldn't just like call her up like, hey bro, or hey sis, my little brother's gonna accidentally fall off the ship. Can you go pick him up or whatever? Couldn't do that. And so what we got here? We got we got the dog machine going on. We've got the dog machine that puts out actual dog shit, but it looks like it's ice cream, but it really isn't. It's just like a trick they play on people. And so Joey's been eating literal shit this entire time, which explains later on why he gets a terrible stomach ache the next day. It's not from all the ice cream he eats, from the dog food. Sorry. And so
I worry about you sometimes, Sesame. I really do.
I know, me too. And then after they got in trouble, Anthony's brother is very disappointed with them and says that him coming there was a mistake. Oh no. He's like, do whatever you want with your idiot friends. I don't care. What idiot friends? There's been no established fact of Anthony having any friends, which that could explain things right there as well. If he meets 3 people for the first time in his life that are his friends, and so he wants to make sure that they'll like him, and so he puts
but also him calling these friends idiots, not knowing these girls and guys that he's hanging out with. It's like...
Exactly. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? And then I don't really care, man. And so And then what else? I wrote some shit here. Who cares that? Oh yeah, it's the other thing too. So one of the things that I think it was Maddie's dad, Larry or whatever, Gary, I forgot his name already.
Yeah, Gary.
Commander Gary or Larry told her. No, was it Tina's mom? Whatever. Someone told someone that a person had actually died a few weeks prior to this, just doing one of the practice things because there's something messed up or whatever. So it's like people actually literally die, even not during combat, like just doing regular shit, you know? And so, and I didn't even realize that until I'm thinking like, well, of course, why wouldn't that happen? I mean, you're dealing with really extreme equipment, very volatile situation. Why wouldn't some people die?
Well, I mean,
just from
people die in car factories. People die everywhere. Right. So, I mean, people die at Walmart. You know, you never know what's going to happen.
Right. And so, you know, she's just trying to get, you know, to let her know, like, hey, you know, this is not safe for you guys to be out here. There's a reason why we have rules. Okay, so that's the fun part of the movie. We got all the fun shit going on, and we got the kids acting crazy and getting themselves in trouble, disappointing their parents and siblings.
Yeah.
What is anything gonna, you know, change them? Is anything gonna, you know, put them on a better path of you know, better discipline and taking things seriously? I don't know. We'll find out. It's 5:15 in the morning, and Maddie wakes up to a buzzing alarm. What? It's 5:15. What's going on? And so, you know, she's running around. Everyone's getting up, and all the
because they're traveling. I mean, I don't know if we established this earlier from Pearl Harbor to San Diego. So they're on the West Coast.
That's right.
So yeah, that's why it's 5 something as opposed to 8 something when things actually happen on the East Coast. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, perfect. Because the Pearl Harbor reference is important because that's what they called 9/11 was the new Pearl Harbor. Of course, we all know that 9/11 was by the government, and I'm just kidding. And then and so they used 9/11 as an excuse to go into Iraq and Afghanistan.
There were no planes. Oh wait, no.
There were no planes. It was all remote control. No, I'm kidding. They had bombs already inside. I hope we're not going to get like a community notes type of situation from this podcast where it's like YouTube will say like they have a little 9/11 was, you know.
Yeah, no, we won't. I mean, we're being sarcastic, folks. We do believe that planes actually hit the towers. Yeah,
I'm just kidding. The official government story of everything's always correct. Always listen to the government. They're always telling the truth. I'm being sarcastic there too. But anyway,
I was going to say I think you're overcorrecting a little bit here.
No. Exactly. In this case, they were telling the truth. It's just that it was nice little convenient little nuggets that allowed them to then, you know, do what they did after the fact. Very convenient timing, but sometimes it happens in life when things and
history never repeats itself in ways that allows, you know, governments to just, you know, take an incident and then overreact and then start killing a bunch of innocent people in a Middle Eastern country.
Oh no, we're not seeing that again today either. Nothing like that. So,
not at all.
No, that's not happening. Anyway, so free Palestine. Anyway, so so before that though, at the Pearl Harbor, Chuck Horner goes on to this like patriotic soliloquy. He might as well have like a skull in his hand as he's talking about the, you know, Pearl Harbor and on November 6th, whatever it was, December. I don't remember what day it was. December 4th, 1941. Blah blah blah, and everyone's like putting their hands across their heart and
day that'll live in infamy.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, we get it. It's weird, but whatever. And then, so the attacks happen. Everyone's freaking out. The commander and them are like, hey, this is like an unprecedented type of thing going on. We never had like 800 family members aboard the ship when something like this is going to happen. So they're like, just whatever you do, just try to convince the family to essentially get out of the way, just let their relatives do their jobs, even though they're scared and they want answers. Just, you know, it's the best thing they can do is just kind of wait out the storm, so to speak, you know, in the metaphor speaking, because they are on the water. But like, And of course, Chuck Horner can't help himself because he's already proven on multiple occasions that he has bad impulse control issues when it comes to expressing his opinions on matters, such as, dismissing his son's career choices and constantly talking about how Marines are superior than the Navy because they eat better food, which somehow is a bad thing, I guess. And then, and there's one point too where his son is like, okay, well, I'll see you later, Dad. He's like, okay. He's like, I got to give you directions on how to get. He's like, oh, it's just a ship. I'll find my way. It's just a ship. It's the size of like.
Then he ends up completely. Like, he ends up completely like getting lost. Like he's running out of breath and stuff. That's where I think he's the kind of comic relief, in that scene. So yeah.
I was afraid he was gonna die because he was climbing up like a ladder that was like super high. I mean, like this thing went up for like I'm thinking a quarter mile.
Well, it was kind of like a stairwell. So it was more like a. I mean, it wasn't like a ladder. They were actually stairs. Okay. So yeah.
And so he ends up going through like a, I don't know what you would call it, a manhole or something. I don't know what you'd call it. And then and he can't really fit through because you get it. He's fat. Isn't that funny? So he can't fit through the hole. It's funny, right? No, actually, it's not funny. They make fun of people, whatever. And then, and so he goes into like total beast George W. Bush mode. And he's like, I think we should just give him all that we've got. And you're like, the one guy's like, you don't even know who it is. Like, don't give me that. We know who it is. He might as well just like painted like a picture of like Osama bin Laden, like, or like a stereotypical Arab and be like, you know who did it. And be bonus points if there's like a Muslim or Arab member of the ship, but he just like goes like, you did this, your people did this, and they had to like subdue him by like punching him in the face and like putting handcuffs or whatever on him. That wouldn't be a Disney Channel movie.
I was going to say this is the Disney Channel.
Yeah, I know. And then so that didn't happen, obviously. And then he keeps asking about his brother who works in the Pentagon after they learned that the Pentagon got hacked. By the way, some notes I also wrote from earlier. The green screen effects are awesome in this movie. So cool.
Yeah, at the beginning they have a few here and there which are pretty bad. Like where it's more of like it's like kind of a green screen composite sort of thing where they like composite the people into these shots that are already filmed like on like an actual ship or something. But I mean they did actually film on real ships here though. So I was trying to figure out why. It might have been something where they just couldn't do it at the same time or something. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was thinking something like that too, where they couldn't do everything. But yeah, overall it was a pretty decent set. Somewhat realistic.
Yeah, because they shot on two different ships. The USS Constellation, which is the actual ship that it took place on, had already been decommissioned, so they shot on two other ones. So I guess with the military allowed them to film on two other carriers that are not carriers, but two other ships that were out there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what happened? So, he keeps asking for his brother. They're like, hey, I can't give you any information right now. We're not allowed any communication in or out because we don't really know what's going on. You gotta sit tight. Of course, he doesn't listen. He gets really angry. So eventually, Gary's like, "Okay, like if anything comes in, I'll let you know. Just chill out, type of thing." Like, all right, cool.
I don't think he got really angry per se. I think it was more anxiety because it's like because I didn't see him as much as of an angry guy as much as like he's in this instance where he's more anxiety ridden because he wants to know if his brother's dead or not. So it's like
Yeah, no, you're right. That's fair. Yeah. And so and then Gary has tasked Maddie with a job to look after the other kids, especially the younger ones, and to kind of let them know, give them updates about how they're doing, things like that, just to see if they can like ease their anxiety a little bit. They suggest turning off the news,
putting on some movies or something instead.
Some kid movies.
I mean,
or whatever.
I remember it, and not being on a ship. I mean, that would exasperate the anxiety of things. But I remember myself when this was happening in the real world, where it's like every channel you turned on had coverage of this. Like, you couldn't escape it on cable. Like, it
No.
like they were airing the news on MTV even and BET and whatnot. You know, it's like you couldn't escape it. Like, any channel you turned on had news about 9/11 like 24/7. So it was.
Oh yeah, for like a whole week. I remember. There wasn't regular shit on TV. They weren't showing like the regular shows. Nothing. Yeah.
Like, I don't even think they were like necessarily. They weren't showing, you know, soap operas. They weren't showing like reruns. There wasn't like, you know, your reruns of I don't know, Friends or whatever in the afternoon or whatever even. So it was like kind of weird. So
yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember that. And so yeah, they got news everywhere. They're like, hey, let's put some movies on. Anthony, however, is watching the news like constantly.
yeah.
And then they're like, hey, put on some movies in the television set so that the news doesn't scare the kids too much. Anthony broods over the news and gets angry at the small children who don't want to hear about thousands of people falling to their deaths for hours on end. So it's nice, you know, of Anthony to, you know, think that's a good thing that, you know, small children should constantly be watching people falling, jumping out of the buildings. Let's just get the kids used to violence. At a very
we get why he did it though. We
I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm doing my thing. You know.
Yeah.
It makes it funnier when you take it literally. I've found. It is fun if you just like talk about a show in a very literal sense. It's funnier when you look at it that way. You're like, oh yeah, this kid's mad because other children don't want to watch people dying. It's true. You could then you just discuss the reasons why he is mad. Sure, but that's the baseline right there. And then you just stick with that and you move and you roll with that. And you can find yourself in some very interesting places. So I'm not hyperactive at all right now, by the way.
Not at all.
I'm totally normal. I don't have any problems mentally. Or brain chemistry wise, I'm all good in the hood, eating in the neighborhood like Applebee's, eating in the neighborhood, or eating in the hood. I don't know. You can do either one. It's fine.
Word to your bird.
Sure, why not? And so what else happens? Because I'm like, again, like my mind's. I need to take a break because my mind's getting crazy now.
So basically, what we have is so after that we realize why he wants to keep watching the news. It's basically because he's from Staten Island and I think that's what he said. He's got, you know, friends whose parents work in the World Trade Center. He knows some firemen and stuff like that, and he's got this like weird obsession with the Twin Towers as well. But
exactly.
He talks about how great they were to, you know, you could see the sun glistening off these buildings and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, okay, I've seen them, they were cool, but still,
like, dude, you gotta write a poem about them? What the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
do you want to have sex with them? I'm confused. No, anyways, so
wow.
I know they're two phallic things in the sky, but still, anyways, so I'm getting weird. So, so basically, but really, he's just worried about his friends' parents and other people that he may know that are in the World Trade Center, you know. So it's like, you know, which is understandable. Of course, if you're from New York, you're going to be worried about this. They all kind of like this situation, like it did to the country and the world to a point, you know, where it kind of just gave this sobering aspect to people where you realize that life shouldn't be taken for granted. You know, if people are going to die, things, you know, you never know when your last breath is going to be.
Right.
Kind of deep for a Disney movie.
Yep.
But, you know, people like Tina start to realize that the truth behind her sister's, you know, assertion of the whole, like, less glamorous side of, like, basically it's not just, you know, people, you know, on vacation traveling the world. You know, they're there to protect people. They're there to, you know, possibly, you know, be put into battle, you know, things like that, you know, whether you agree with the actions of the United States when they decide to go into wars is not, you know, as important as the fact that, you know, we should be supporting the military people in general because they're, you know, they don't have a say necessarily in what kind of war they go into. And, you know, so, you know, they're possibly sacrificing their lives for, you know, a cause greater than them, whether the greater cause is good or bad, so.
Exactly. But no, it's true. But
I just want to make it clear that I'm anti-war. I just drew a peace sign while I was sitting here. So, so
it's a nuanced thing, because they think it's a cause worth fighting for, and so they are sacrificing themselves for what they think is a good cause, whether or not it is. That's kind of irrelevant, really. Because it's still,
and sometimes even though the soldiers in a war don't think that the war is necessarily good or agree with everything that's going on, but they have their orders and their duty that they have to obey. So basically we get this whole thing where we realize that there's a greater purpose here to what's going on, and the training is there for a reason, teach people how to behave in the military. And so Anthony, he's worried about the people in the two towers. Maddie starts to see her father in a different light, where she starts to realize he's an important person, and she gets talks to some throughout the thing to different to one of the guys on the ship, who basically says this is he's like a father to us all, and blah blah blah, which is good and bad, because it's he's a father to you, but
exactly, oh well, it must be nice or whatever. I don't shut up, bitch.
But still, there's the whole thing where she starts to realize that he's a good leader, and he's sacrificing raising his family to raise this group of people on a ship.
Exactly. So that's my thing. That's the whole. That's my main problem with this whole movie. Okay, it's there's nothing wrong with making that your career, but it's if you're going to have a family, you should kind of weigh the pros and cons about whether or not you should have a job where you're constantly away from.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're single, great, you go see the world, go, but
that's what's always bothered me about something like this, or even people that are in a band or something, where they're oh yeah, we're gonna I'm gonna have kids, but I'm just gonna go tour the world or the country, playing my guitar or whatever, and not caring about little Susie and Sally at home, so it's what the
or like Jack Frost with the shitty blues band, and eventually, but he's redeemed by becoming a snowman. So but that doesn't happen to everyone. Not everyone gets to turn into a snowman. So.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. Gary here doesn't turn into a snowman. That would make this movie a lot different.
Because did at one point, Anthony goes, "Snow Dad is better than No Dad."
It would be just really weird if Bill Pullman just decided to turn into a snowman randomly in the middle of the movie.
But then he melts because right in the middle of the sun in San Diego area, and it's September 9th. So
it's pretty warm out. Yeah.
By the way, quick plug: check out our Jack Frost episode. It's a good one.
Yes, it is. One of my favorites. So yeah, this is weird. So basically, we start to see things. We do find out eventually that Chuck's brother at the Pentagon was lost and then presumed dead, and basically, so we find out basically that he's dead. So
oh shit,
yeah.
Oh, we did. So he was officially dead.
Yeah, we do find that out because they talk about at the end when he's leaving the ship, he tells his son that he's proud of him and stuff, and he says, you can. I'm sure they'll give you some leave here if you want to come to the service.
Oh shit.
Yeah, unless they're talking about some other kind of service that I'm not aware of, but. I was assuming
what he meant.
I was assuming they meant that come to your uncle's funeral. So yeah, so yeah, he died, and then because there's and there's a really touching scene. I really liked the scene where he's realizing what's wrong, and he's just basically kind of has a change of heart there. Chuck does, where he's realizing that what everybody does is important, and he's also realizing. I lost my brother who I thought was, invincible sort of thing. He was my little brother,
right.
But he was kind of my hero and stuff. And it's kind of sad. And he was at the Pentagon, which was supposed to be the safest place on earth, so it's yeah.
Which, why would anyone think that to begin with? I mean, it seems kind of a weird.
I don't know. I
believe.
mean, I guess, it does have a lot of security and stuff, but I guess they never accounted for the fact that somebody could fly a plane into it.
Exactly. Why would you not think of that as being at least a possibility? Whatever.
Yeah.
I guess you get that hubris
But I
and
guess
arrogance.
I guess no matter what, you can think, anything you can think you have complete security or safety wherever you are. There's always going to be something that's not, accounted for, where, there could be some way that somebody's going to break in. I mean, you can have the best security system in the world and somebody's still going to break in. I mean, there people have used to break into Hollywood stars' houses out in California all the time, and they thought they were great,
Right.
Great in security, on a lesser scale than the Pentagon. So, but
Right. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. There's just also this great scene where, what's Chuck's son's name? Danny?
Uh-huh.
So there's a scene where Danny is basically making a bunch of cupcakes just to kind of take his mind off of things.
yeah,
And the kids come in the kitchen and he's like, hey, go ahead and take whatever you want, whatever. And then Anthony starts drumming on like one of the things, and then Danny starts drumming. And somehow this movie completely changes into like Stomp the musical, like
Yeah.
just out of the it's just like okay. And then Maddie comes in and she starts doing stuff. Tina starts doing Joey.
they're all stomping it up in the kitchen, and
Yeah.
Danny
turns on the mixer to go at a faster pace and things like that. Yeah.
So, little trivia about that scene. After the scene of everybody banging on pots in the bakery, it took 3 months of thorough cleaning to finally get the space back up to naval health standards.
What the fuck? What? No.
It took 3 months of thorough cleaning.
That can't be true. What they do it a minute a day? I mean, come on. Like,
I mean, naval health standards must be really high.
I guess, but man, I mean, all you had was, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, because like even one little piece of food could attract like insects, or mice. So yeah, I guess I could see. I wouldn't say 3 months. I'd say a few days, maybe a week, but 3 months, man.
Well, maybe they cleaned it once and then they had an inspection and it failed, and then they cleaned it again and had an inspection and it failed.
Hey, but again, that's like that's right around Tina's alley right there, being very
thorough,
very specific, very thorough. But yeah, I mean, you have to be, because if you got like hundreds of people on board and something happens with the food, well, that's Yeah.
I mean, they do say a lot of times, like the easiest way to in combat to take out people is through food or lack thereof.
They usually attack the kitchens or the medical people. That like those are the first people that are going to get taken out. Basically.
I mean, because you see right now in Gaza, a lot of people are being starved basically. And they're trying to stop supplies from coming in, and that's a way that they're attacking innocent people. Is through a lot of people are dying because of not because of bombs and stuff, but because of health standards and stuff. Because you also have you're concentrating a lot of people into one small area. So if one person gets a cold, everybody gets the cold, or if somebody gets COVID or something, everybody gets COVID. It's going to be and it's going to be years from now where a lot of these people are going to die too.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like biological warfare and starvation as a war crime, and
so I understand why the Navy would want their kitchen to be completely thoroughly cleaned. So weird way to get to that point, but yeah.
I mean, I understand too, and when you're evil as well, you also want to make your plans go according to plan too. I'm not saying the Navy is evil. I'm saying Israel. Yeah. Anyway,
the government of Israel. And the IDF,
that's a nuanced take too, because if the majority of the population agrees with the government, then I'm not going to get
but I'm just going to say it's not a blanket statement to everybody that lives in Israel, because there are a lot of good people that live there. So
just the majority percentage wise and stuff. But
but there are people that can say the same and try to blanket everybody in Gaza as being evil because of the
not everyone, just percentage wise. But mm-hmm. Sorry. I'm gonna get in trouble.
I'm just trying to be, devil's advocate here. So, it's like, I mean, Chuck's brother is basically confirmed dead, and you do have this like emotional scene there with Maddie and him, she's basically saying sorry and gives him a hug and stuff. So that was kind of touching and kind of didn't bring a tear to my eye. But if I was a kid watching this in 2004, it might have. Yeah. So what else happens here? The end of the movie starts to happen.
Well, Maddie basically tells her dad to keep doing his job, that he doesn't have to
retire,
come home forever or whatever type of thing, because she sees what he's doing is important, and she's gonna stop being a brat. Well, that's the other thing too. So it's like a double entendre. So like throughout the whole movie, they keep asking her, "Are you a Navy brat?" And she's like, "I'm not a brat. I don't like that term," or whatever. And then, but she's acting like a real brat in actual life. So, so she is a brat in one definition of the word.
I thought for a while she might be confused and thought they were saying brat, and she was like, "I'm not a sausage." And then
that could be it too. Actually, and so. But by the end of the movie, she's like, "I am a Navy brat." So it's like, aha, you get it? So she wasn't a Navy brat in the beginning, but she was an actual brat, as in how she's acting towards people. But then by the end of the movie, she's not a brat.
But she is a brat.
Yeah, you get it? That was a cool little switcheroo they did. And then it's pretty much the ending. They take them to like some ports, I guess, to go to, but no one's gonna pick them up, I guess, so they have to just go somewhere. I don't really know, but like, and I'm
assuming they got left off in San Diego or something at the port in San Diego. So I'm
pretty sure. I mean, probably missed a few things, but that's pretty much the movie.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, I want to cover some more Disney movies after this too, though. So Disney Channel movies, some
Disney Channel movies,
some DComs, as they call them in the biz.
They call it in the biz.
Yeah.
Another good one is Luck of the Irish. That's a weird ass movie.
Yeah, there's a few that I think we are going to cover in the near future that I want to pick out to cover too. So yeah, we'll see when we get there. Stray notes. What's his Joey's mom is played by Lisa Dean Ryan. She only has a couple scenes, and I just wanted to mention that she was one of the first crushes I had as a kid. She played Wanda on Doogie Howser. So
okay.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I always had a crush on her. So I just wanted to point that out. When I watched the scene, I was like, when I watched one of the scenes, I was like, wait, that's Wanda. Yeah. She was also in an episode of Boy Meets World where she tries to take Corey's virginity when he's away at a college, visiting a college when he's in high school. But then Topanga couldn't come to the. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts here on this film?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I said all I could say about it. Decent movie. I would I'd rate it, I don't know, 6.5 out of 10 maybe. Which is kind of good for,
for a made for TV movie, it's decent. I mean, and you have a decent cast here. I mean, Bill Pullman's always good and everything. I mean, he'll always be the president. From
yeah, I know, for me too. Yeah, he'll always be the president.
Yes. It was a decent cast, I think, and Troy Evans, our friend, played a good part in the movie. So, be sure to check out our interview with Troy Evans. It was a really good interview that I did. I love that guy. I think he's awesome. I definitely want to try to have him on the show again because I could listen to him talk and tell stories about his life forever. He was just awesome. Really, really good guy. So was Mark Christopher Lawrence, who played Pops in this. So he's, in one scene in the movie, but he's still, always good, from Chuck. I give the movie a good old, 6.5 out of 10 as well, or something around there. So yeah, I think it was good, and a lot better than I thought it would be, because I went in like I was kind of dreading watching this. So I was like, I put it off until this morning. So,
I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn it, man.
Yeah. I was like, what did you pick here? No, but I got excited when I thought when I knew Troy had a big part in it, so that kind of helped me.
Nice.
Yeah. So I will recommend watching it. Definitely, it's on Disney Plus. Give it a try. If you want to watch something with your kids or whatever, it's decent. Decent movie to watch. You know, I think it's a good movie to bring up talking points about, you know, the military and things like that you want to talk with your kids about, you know, the ways to view the military, you know, and be happy with the military, but also point out the good and the bad of it. You know, the 9/11 is always a good talking point with that, I think.
Yeah.
Folks, God bless America. And
God bless. Oh wait, that was one more thing too. So they at the end they unfurled this huge American flag on the ship.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But that's my final thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I think they actually did that on the Constellation back then.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a good movie. You know, yeah, good 6.5 out of 10. Anyways, be sure to check us out on our on all2real2.com for any links to anything you want. We got our Patreon on there, our TeePublic, you can subscribe to the show anywhere. Be sure to do that. Give us a 5-star review anywhere you can. I know I said this all at the beginning, but, you know, I'm just reminding you because you may have forgotten along this cruise that we took in this episode. And so
that was a good one.
Yeah, I still am unclear as to why they call these people tigers.
I don't know either. Yeah. I'm not sure what that's about, because it's a cruise. You're on water. Tigers hate water stereotypically. So why would you? Whatever. Fine. Sharks would be a good one. Dolphins, but you know, or tiger sharks. Maybe that's why.
I don't know.
I don't know. Probably not.
I'm looking it up.
You're looking at it?
Yes. Yeah. Tiger is a civilian relative that is allowed to come aboard for a short, non-combat related cruise. Why are they called that? Nobody seems to know.
There's no reason. They're just like, yeah, let's call them Tiger.
I'm looking this up, and there's like, I don't know why.
You could type in Tiger Cruise. Why are they called tigers?
I did that. I did that already.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. Yeah, there's no reason why they're called tigers.
Hilarious. They just decided to just call them something.
I'm sure there is a reason, like, but it's, you know, probably, you know, some guy back in, 19 whatever decided, hey, you know, let's call these kids tigers, you know.
Yeah,
he was a big fan of Frosted Flakes. I don't know, so.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, let's call these kids tigers because they're great. And
there you go. You figure it out.
Yep, that's my headcanon for this.
That's your headcanon.
The guy was just eating a bowl of Frosted Flakes and couldn't think of anything better to call them. So, and you know, just so you know, the USS John C. Stennis and the USS Nimitz were the boats that they filmed on, as opposed to the Constellation, which had already been decommissioned. So yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there. Folks, hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe and everything and share. Just remember one thing, that I love you, the tigers love you, Sesame loves you.
It's true.
And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All 2 Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.